Hey, Krishna. Okay, notice went out. And let's see, checking to make sure we're streaming. Yes, we are live. Okay. All right. Get the guitar. And we will start. All right. Lo Samba. That's Kuranga Balite Hobby. Gorasha Ratana Gore Narotamutas Gorangava Iteave Ulakasharir Atiote Litenayane Avenir Goranga Iteave Ulakasharir Atiote Litenayane Avenir Sharir Adiare Moli Yayane Mavenir Goranga Muli Habe Pulakan Sharir Adiare Moli Yayane Mavenir Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupad, Paramahansa, Parabhikacharya, also tell us that the Shimad, His Divine Grace, Abhaya Chandanada Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem say, oh Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Gadadha Shivasani Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Saya Mukunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavanam Ki Jai Mathuranam Ki Jai Jagadha Swami Ki Jai Mudamai Ki Jai Shimani Lasi Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Hari Haribo. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharne Nivashesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Dejatarni. So, let me read the translation to this Vaishnava poem. When will that opportune moment come to me when I shiver upon chanting the name of Lord Gauranga? When will I cry while chanting Hare Krishna? When will I receive the causeless mercy of Lord Nityananda, so that my desires for material enjoyment become insignificant? When will my mind be purified of material anxieties and desires, so that I can understand Vrindavana? When shall I be very eager to study the books left by the six Goswamis, so that I can understand the conjugal love of Radha and Krishna? The lotus feet of the six Goswamis are my only shelter. In constant separation from them I remain. Narottamadas. Narottamadas Thakur Ki Jai. So now we'll go on to Krishna Vakoma Gana Timidanda Shah Gananjana Shlakya Chakshur Meditam Yena Tasmai Shi Gurave Namaha. So today we're going to read the chapter about the killing of Dvidvida gorilla. Oh my God. It's actually one of the most humorous chapters in the Krishna book. So let us go on to Krishna book. Our offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who so kindly opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge while I was blinded in the darkness of ignorance. Hold on 1 second. We have to share the screen. And here we go. And this is chapter 67 in the Krishna book, which is entitled The Deliverance of Dvidvida Gorilla. Notice it's called The Deliverance of Dvidvida Gorilla rather than the killing of Dvidvida Gorilla, because when Dvidvida Gorilla gets killed, he gets delivered. And the interesting story, a little backstory about Dvidvida Gorilla. Dvidvida Gorilla, and that's not mentioned in this particular chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Dvidvida Gorilla was a devotee. And as a devotee, he assisted Lord Ramchandra in crossing the ocean to Lanka. And he is a big gorilla. Big gorilla. Along with other gorillas and monkeys like Minda, etc. But Dvidvida Gorilla got some bad association after he helped Lord Ramchandra, and as a result, he fell down from that position and became quite demoniac and materialistic. Now, many of the acharyas explain that he became quite demoniac and materialistic because he had committed offense, not against Lord Ramchandra per se, but against Lakshman, who was Lord Ramchandra's brother and non-different from Lord Ramchandra. Advaita Chuta Nadir Anantarupam Adyam Purama Purisham Yovanam Cha Vedeshu Durlavam Atma Bhakto Govinda Mari Purisham Tamaham Bhajami. That the Lord is one, although he manifests himself in many different places, in many different situations, he's still the same person. So, Dvidvida Gorilla didn't realize that, and he offended Lakshman. And because of that, he became a demon, and eventually, as we're going to read in this chapter, he had to be killed by Balaram. Okay, so let's go. The deliverance of Dvidvida Gorilla. While Shukadeva Goswami continued to speak on the transcendental pastimes and characteristics of Lord Krishna, King Parikshit, upon hearing him, became more and more enthusiastic and wanted to hear further. Shukadeva Goswami next narrated the story of Dvidvida, the gorilla who was killed by Lord Balaram. This gorilla was a great friend of Bhaumasura, or Narakasura, who was killed by Krishna in connection with his kidnapping 16,000 princesses from all over the world. Incidentally, Narakasura, and who was Bhaumasura, same thing, was Krishna's son. And he also took up bad association, and he also was killed by Krishna. Dvidvida was the minister of King Sugriva. His brother Minda was also a very powerful gorilla king, and of course King Sugriva is a devotee. He helped Lord Ramchandra rescue Sita Devi from Lanka. When Dvidvida Gorilla heard the story of his friend Bhaumasura's being killed by Lord Krishna, he planned to create mischief throughout the country in order to avenge the death of Bhaumasura. His first business was to set fires in villages, towns, and industrial and mining places, as well as in the residential quarters of the mercantile men who were busy dairy farming and protecting cows. Sometimes he would uproot a big mountain and tear it to pieces. In this way, he created great disturbances all over the country, especially in the province of Kathwar. The city of Dwarka was situated in this Kathwar province, and because Lord Krishna used to live in this city, Dvidvida specifically made it his target of disturbance. Dvidvida was as powerful as 10,000 elephants. Sometimes he'd go to the seashore, and with his powerful hands he would create so much disturbance in the sea that he would flood the neighboring cities and villages. Often he would go to the hermitages of great saintly persons and sages and cause a great disturbance by smashing their beautiful their beautiful gardens and orchards. Not only did he create disturbances in that way, but sometimes he would pass urine and stool on their sacred sacrificial arenas. He would thus pollute the whole atmosphere. He also kidnapped both men and women, taking them away from their residential places to the caves of mountains. After putting them in within the caves, he would close the entrances with large chunks of stone like the bringy insect, which arrests and carries away many flies and other insects and puts them within the holes of the trees where he lives. Thus Dvidvida regularly defied the law and order of the country. Not only that, he would sometimes pollute the female members of many aristocratic families by forcibly raping them. Oh my God. While creating such great disturbances all over the country, sometimes he heard very sweet musical sounds from Dvidvida Mountain, and so he entered that mountainous region. So, incidentally, Dvidvida Mountain was like the vacation spot for those who lived in Dwarka. There's some description that Krishna and Arjuna would sometimes go there and just associate with each other and enjoy their friendship. So it was very common for the residents of Dwarka to go to Dvidvida Mountain. There he saw Lord Balaram in the midst of many beautiful young girls enjoying their company while singing and dancing. Dvidvida became captivated by the beauty of Lord Balaram's body, whose every feature was very beautiful, decorated as he was with a garland of lotus flowers. Similarly, all the young girls present, dressed and garlanded with flowers, exhibited much beauty. Lord Balaram seemed fully intoxicated from drinking the Varuni beverage, and his eyes appeared to be rolling in a drunken state. Lord Balaram appeared just like the king of the elephants in the midst of many she-elephants. And as we mentioned in the previous chapters, when we were talking about Lord Balaram dragging the Jamuna, where he was also drinking the Varuni beverage, and Lord Balaram exhibited symptoms of intoxication. So in the spiritual world, everything is there. But the intoxication there is not in the mode of ignorance like it is here. Someone takes intoxication here, they become completely covered up. Someone takes intoxication there, they become more Krishna conscious. So that's because this world is a perverted reflection of the spiritual world as described by Krishna in the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, when he compares this material world to an upside down tree with the roots up and the branches down. So everything's there. However, it is all full of eternity, bliss, and knowledge in the spiritual world. So anyway, this gorilla by the name Dvidvida could climb up into the trees and jump from one branch to another. Sometimes he would jerk the branches, creating a particular type of sound. Kilo, kilo. So Lord Balaram was greatly distracted from the pleasing atmosphere. So also, the word for banana is kela. So very similar. It's almost like saying banana, banana. Sometimes Dvidvida would come before the women and exhibit different types of caricatures. By nature, young women are apt to enjoy everything with laughter and joking, and when the gorilla came before them, they did not take him seriously, but simply laughed at him. However, the gorilla was so rude that even in the presence of Balaram, he began to show the lower part of his body to the women, and sometimes he would come forward to show his teeth while moving his eyebrows. He disrespected the women even in the presence of Balaram. Lord Balaram's name suggests that not only is he very powerful, but that he takes pleasure in exhibiting extraordinary strength, because there's two parts to Balaram's name. Bala, which means strength, spiritual strength, material strength. That's what we approach Lord Balaram for, spiritual strength. Without the mercy of Balaram, you cannot become Krishna conscious. Balaram is the original guru. All other gurus are representing him, and Balaram, Hoila, and Nitai. So Balaram and Lord Nityananda are the same. So, in other words, Dvidvida had previously disrespected Balaram when Balaram appeared as Lord Nityananda. Not as Lord Nityananda, so as Lakshman, and Lakshman is not different from Lord Nityananda, and Lord Nityananda is not different than Balaram. So he took a stone and threw it at Dvidvida. Oh, sorry. Lord Balaram's name is, so he takes pleasure, yeah. So he took a stone and threw it to Dvidvida. The gorilla, however, artfully avoided being struck by the stone. In order to insult Balaram, the gorilla took away the earthen pot in which the Varuni was kept. Dvidvida, being thus intoxicated with his limited strength, began to tear off all the valuable clothes worn by Balaram and the accompanying young girls. He was so puffed up that he thought Balaram could not do anything but to chastise him, and he continued to fed Balaramaji and his companions. When Lord Balaram saw the disturbances created by the gorilla and heard that he had already performed many mischievous activities all over the country, he became very angry and decided to kill him. Immediately he took his club in his hands. The gorilla could understand that now Balaram was going to attack him. To counteract Balaram, he immediately uprooted a big oak tree, and with great force he came and he struck Lord Balaram's head. Lord Balaram, however, immediately caught hold of the big tree and remained undisturbed, just like a great mountain. To retaliate, he took his club, named Sunanda, and hit the gorilla with it, severely injuring his head. Currents of blood flowed from the gorilla's head with great force, but the stream of blood simply enhanced his beauty. Like a stream of liquid manganese, coming out of a great mountain. The striking of Balaram's club did not even slightly disturb him. On the contrary, he immediately uprooted another big oak tree, and after clipping off all its leaves, again struck Balaram's head with it. But Balaram, with the help of his club, tore the tree to pieces. Since the gorilla was very angry, he took another tree in his hands and struck Lord Balaram's body. Again, Lord Balaram tore the tree to pieces, and the fighting continued. Each time the gorilla would bring out a big tree to strike Balaram, Lord Balaram would tear the tree to pieces by the striking of his club, and the gorilla Dvidvida would clutch another tree from another direction and again attack Balaram in the same way. As a result of this continuous fighting, the forest became treeless. When no more trees were available, Dvidvida took help from the hills and threw large pieces of stone like rainfall upon the body of Balaram. Lord Balaram, in a great sporting mood, began to smash those big pieces of stone into mere pebbles. The gorilla, being bereft of all trees and stone slabs, now stood before Balaram and waved his strong fists. Then, with great force, he began to beat Lord Balaram's chest with his fists. This time, Lord Balaram became most angry. Since the gorilla was striking him with his hands, Lord Balaram would not strike him back with his own weapons, the club or the plow. Simply with his fists, he struck the collarbone of the gorilla. This blow proved fatal to Dvidvida, who immediately vomited blood and fell unconscious upon the ground. When the gorilla fell, all the hills of the forest appeared to totter. After this horrible incident, all the siddhas, that means the perfected beings from higher planets, great sages and saintly persons from the upper planetary system, showered flowers on the person of Lord Balaram and vibrated sounds glorifying his supremacy. All of them chanted, "Oh, glorious to Lord Balaram! Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto your lotus feet. By killing this great demon, Dvidvida, you have initiated an auspicious era for the world." All such jubilant sounds of victory were heard from outer space. After killing the great demon Dvidvida and being worshipped by showers of flowers and glorious sounds of victory, Balaram returned to his capital city, Dwarka. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 67th chapter of Krishna, the deliverance of Dvidvida, gorilla. Okay, so we went through that chapter rather quickly, so we can go on to the next chapter. So write that down. So we did 67, and now we are at 68. Okay, 68 is called the marriage of Samba. Okay, let's go. Duryodhana, the son of Dhritarashtra, had a marriageable daughter by the name of Lakshmana. She was a very highly qualified girl of the Kuru dynasty, and many princes wanted to marry her. In such cases, the Swayamvara ceremony is held so that the girl may select her husband according to her own choice. So that's what Swayamvara means. Her own choice. Not that she was just forced to marry someone she didn't want to marry. She could always say no. In Lakshmana's Swayamvara ceremony, when the girl was to select her husband, Samba appeared. He was the son of Krishna's by Jambavati, one of Lord Krishna's chief wives. This son, Samba, was so named because he was a pet child and always lived close to his mother. The name Samba, that's interesting, Sa with mother, indicates a son who is very much his mother's pet. Amba means mother, and Sa means with, which is what I just said. So this special name was given to him because he always remained with his mother. He was also known as Jambavati Sutta, which means the son of Jambavati, for the same reason. As previously explained, all the sons of Krishna were as qualified as their great father. Samba wanted Duryodhana's daughter, Lakshmana, although she was not inclined to have him. Therefore, Samba kidnapped Lakshmana by force from the Swayamvara ceremony. Because Samba took Lakshmana away from the assembly by force, all the members of the Kuru dynasty, such as Dhritarashtra, Bhishma, Vidura, and Arjuna, thought it an insult to their family tradition that the boy Samba could possibly have kidnapped their daughter. All of them knew that Lakshmana was not at all inclined to select him as her husband, and that she was not given the chance to select her own husband. Instead, she was forcibly taken away by this boy. Therefore, they decided that he must be punished. They unanimously declared that he was most impudent and had degraded the Kuru family's tradition. Therefore, all of them, under the counsel of the elder members of the Kuru family, decided to arrest the boy, but not kill him, because it was Krishna's son. You don't want to kill him. They concluded that the girl could not be married to any boy other than Samba, since she had already been touched by him. According to the Vedic system, once being touched by some boy, a girl cannot be married or given to any other boy, nor would anyone agree to marry a girl who had already thus associated with another boy. Of course, that system cannot be applied nowadays. The elder member of the family, such as Bhishma, wanted to arrest him. Thus, all the members of the Kuru dynasty, especially the great fighters, joined together just to teach him a lesson, and Karna was made the commander-in-chief of this small battle. While making the plan to arrest Samba, the Kurus counseled amongst themselves that upon his arrest, the members of the Yadu dynasty would be very angry with them. There was every possibility of the Yadus accepting the challenge and fighting with them. But they also thought, if they came here to fight with us, what could they do? The members of the Yadu dynasty cannot equal the members of the Kuru dynasty, because the kings of the Kuru dynasty are the emperors, whereas the kings of the Yadu dynasty are able to enjoy their land only because we have granted it to them. The Kurus thought, if they come here to challenge us because their son was arrested, we shall accept the fight and teach them the lesson. So that automatically they will be subdued under pressure, as the senses are subdued by the mystic yoga process of pranayama. So Prabhupada explains, in the mechanical system of mystic yoga, the airs within the body are controlled and the senses are subdued and checked from being engaged in anything other than meditation upon Lord Vishnu. After consultation and receiving permission from the elder members of the Kuru dynasty, such as Bhishma and Dhritarashtra, 5 great warriors, Karna, Shala, Buri, Yajnaketu, and Duryodhana, the father of the girl, who were all Maharathas, and who were guided by the great fighter Bhishma Deva, attempted to arrest the boy Samba. There are different grades of fighters, including Maharata, Egarati, and Rati. And actually there's another category called the Athiratha, which is actually capable of fighter. That's like Arjuna is capable of fighting with many Maharathas. It's interesting. So Prabhupada doesn't mention that particular category here. That means Atirati means the highest fighter. These Maharatis could fight alone with many thousands of men. All of them combined together to arrest Samba. Samba was also Maharati, but he was alone and had to fight with 6 other Maharatis. Still, he was not deterred when he saw all the great fighters of the Kuru dynasty coming up behind him to arrest him. Alone, he turned toward them and took out his nice bow, posing exactly as the lion stands adamant in the face of other animals. Karna, leading the party, challenged Samba. Why are you fleeing? Just stand and we shall teach you a lesson. When challenged by another Kshatriya to stand and fight, a Kshatriya cannot run away, he must fight. Therefore, Samba accepted the challenge and stood alone before them, but as soon as he did so, he was overpowered by showers of arrows shot by all the great warriors. A lion is never afraid of being chased by many wolves and jackals. Similarly, Samba, the glorious son of the Yadu dynasty, endowed with inconceivable potencies as the son of Lord Krishna, became very angry at the warriors of the Kuru dynasty for improperly using arrows against him. In other words, what was improper is that there were actually 6 people fighting him. Normally, according to the Kshatriya Dharma, only one equal could fight with another equal. In other words, if you were on a chariot, you could fight with one person on a chariot. If you were on the ground, the other person had to be on the ground. It was important to observe the rules of chivalry in this particular regard. He fought with them with great talent. First of all, he struck each of the 6 charioteers with 6 separate arrows. He used another 4 arrows to kill the charioteers' horses, 4 in each chariot. Then he used 1 arrow to kill the driver and 1 arrow for Karna as well as the other celebrated fighters. While Samba so diligently fought alone with his 6 great warriors, they all appreciated the boy's inconceivable potency. Even in the midst of the fighting, they admitted frankly that this boy Samba was wonderful. But the fighting was conducted in the Kshatriya spirit, so altogether, although it was improper, they obliged Samba to get down from his chariot, now broken to pieces. Of the 6 warriors, 4 took care to kill Samba's 4 horses. 1 struck down his chariot driver, and 1 managed to cut the string of Samba's bow so that he could no longer fight with them. In this way, with great difficulty and after a severe fight, they deprived Samba of his chariot and were able to arrest him. Thus the warriors of the Kuru dynasty accepted their great victory and took their daughter Lakshmana away from him. Thereafter they entered the city of Hastinapur in great triumph. The great sage Narada immediately carried the news to the Yadu dynasty that Samba had been arrested and told them the whole story. The members of the Yadu dynasty became very angry at Samba's being arrested, and improperly so, by 6 warriors. Now, with the permission of the head of the Yadu dynasty, King Ugrasena, they prepared to attack the capital city of the Kuru dynasty. That's Hastinapur. Although Lord Balaram knew very well that by slight provocation people are prepared to fight with one another in the age of Kali, he did not like the idea that the 2 great dynasties, the Kuru dynasty and the Yadu dynasty, would fight amongst themselves even though they were influenced by Kali Yuga. Instead of fighting with them, he wisely thought, let me go there and see the situation, let me try to see if the fight can be settled by mutual understanding. Balaram's idea was that if the Kuru dynasty could be induced to release Samba along with his wife Lakshman, then the fight could be avoided. He therefore immediately arranged for a nice chariot to go to Hastinapura, accompanied by learned priests and brahmanas as well as by some of the elder members of the Yadu dynasty. He was confident that the members of the Kuru dynasty would agree to this marriage and avoid fighting with the Yadus. As Lord Balaram proceeded toward Hastinapur in his chariot, accompanied by the brahmanas and elders, he looked like the moon shining in the clear sky amongst the glittering stars. When Lord Balaram reached the precincts of the city of Hastinapura, he did not enter, but stationed himself in a camp outside, let me just mute this, outside the city in a small garden house. Then he asked Dvidvida to meet with the leaders of the Kuru dynasty and inquire from them whether they wanted to fight with the Yadu dynasty or make a settlement. Uddhava went to see the leaders of the Kuru dynasty, and he met all the important members, including Bhishma Deva, Dhritarashtra, Dronacharya, Duryodhana, and Bolika. After offering them due respects, he informed them that Lord Balaram had arrived at the garden outside the city gates. The leaders of the Kuru dynasty, especially Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana, were very joyful because they knew very well that Lord Balaram was a great well-wisher of their family. There were no bounds to their joy in hearing the news, and so they immediately welcomed Uddhava. In order to properly receive Lord Balaram, they all took in their hands auspicious paraphernalia for his reception and went to see him outside the city gate. Lord Balaram, according to their respective positions, they welcomed Lord Balaram by giving him in charity nice cows and arghya. That's a mixture of arati water and an assortment of items such as honey, butter, flowers, and sandalwood pulp. Because all of them knew the exalted position of Lord Balaram as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they bowed their heads before the Lord with great respect. They all exchanged words of reception by asking one another about their welfare. And when such formalities were finished, Lord Balaram, in a great voice and very patiently, submitted before them the following words for their consideration. My dear friends, this time I have come to you as a messenger with the order of the all-powerful King Ugrasena. Please therefore hear the order with attention and great care. Without wasting a single moment, please try to carry out the order. King Ugrasena knows very well that you warriors of the Kuru dynasty improperly fought with the pious, with the pious Samba, who was alone, and that with great difficulty and unrighteous tactics you have arrested him. We have all heard this news, but we are not very much agitated because we are most intimately related to one another. I do not think we should disturb our good relationship. We should continue our friendship without any unnecessary fighting. Please, therefore, immediately release Samba and bring him, along with his wife, Lakshmana, before me. When Lord Balaram spoke, in a commanding tone full of heroic assertion, supremacy, and chivalry, the leaders of the Kuru dynasty did not appreciate his statements. Rather, all of them became agitated and with great anger. They said, "Oh, these words are very astonishing, but quite befitting the age of Kali. Otherwise, how could Balaram speak so vituperatively? The language and tone used by Balaram are simply abusive, and due to the influence of this age, it appears that the shoes befitting the feet want to rise to the top of the head, where the helmet is worn. We are concerned with the Yadu dynasty we are connected, with the Yadu dynasty by marriage, and because of this, they have been given the chance to come live with us, dine with us, and sleep with us. Now they are taking advantage of these privileges. They had practically no position before. We gave them a portion of our kingdom to rule, and now they are trying to command us. We have allowed the Yadu dynasty to use the royal insignias like the whisk, fan, concho, white umbrella, crown, royal throne, sitting place, and bedstead, along with everything else befitting the royal order. They should not have used such royal paraphernalia in our presence, but we did not check them due to our family relationships. Now they have the audacity to order us to do things? Well, enough of their impudence. We cannot allow them to do any more of these things, nor shall we allow them to use these royal insignias. It would be best to take away all these things. It is improper to feed a snake with milk, since such merciful activities simply increase his venom. The Yadu dynasty is now trying to go against those who have fed them so nicely. Their flourishing condition is due to our gifts and merciful behavior, and still they are so shameless. They are trying to order us. How regrettable are all these activities? No one in the world can enjoy anything if members of the Kuru dynasty, like Bhishma, Dronacharya, and Arjuna, do not allow them to. Exactly as a lamb cannot enjoy life in the presence of a lion without our desire, it is not even possible for the demigods in heaven, headed by King Indra, to find enjoyment in life with the speak of ordinary human beings. Actually, the members of the Kuru dynasty were very much puffed up due to their opulence, kingdom, aristocracy, family tradition, great warriors, family members, and vast, expansive empire. They did not even observe common formalities of civilized society, and in the presence of Lord Balaram they uttered insulting words about the Yadu dynasty. Having spoken in this unmannerly way, they returned to their city of Hastinapur. Although Lord Balaram patiently heard their insulting words and simply observed their uncivil behavior, from his appearance it was clear that he was burning with anger and was thinking of retaliating with great vengeance. His bodily features became so agitated that it was very difficult for anyone to look at him. He laughed very loudly and said, "It is true that if a man becomes too much puffed up because of his family, opulence, beauty, and material advancement, he no longer wants a peaceful life but becomes belligerent toward all others. It is useless to give such a person good instruction for gentle behavior and peaceful life. On the contrary, one should search out the ways and means to punish him. Generally, due to material opulence, a man becomes exactly like an animal. To give an animal peaceful instructions is useless, and the only means is argumentum ad baculum, that means the stick. In other words, the only means is to keep animals in order is a stick. Just see how impudent are the members of the Kuru dynasty. I wanted to make a peaceful settlement despite the anger of all the other members of the Yadu dynasty, including Lord Krishna himself. They were preparing to attack the whole kingdom of the Kuru dynasty, but I pacified them and took the trouble to come here to settle the affair without any fighting. Yet these rascals behave like this. It is clear they do not want a peaceful settlement, for they are factually warmongers. With great pride, they repeatedly insulted me by calling the Yadu dynasty ill names. Even the king of heaven, Indra, abides by the order of the Yadu dynasty, and you consider King Ugrasena, the head of the Bhojas, Vrishnis, Andakas, and Yadavas, to be the leader of a small phalanx. Your conclusion is wonderful. You do not care for King Ugrasena, whose order is obeyed even by King Indra. Consider the exalted position of the Yadu dynasty. They have forcibly used both the assembly house and the Parijata tree of the heavenly planets, and still you think they cannot order you. Don't you even think that Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, can sit on the exalted royal throne and command everybody? All right, if your thinking is like that, you deserve to be taught a very good lesson. You have thought it wise that the royal insignias like the whisk, fan, white umbrella, royal throne, and other princely paraphernalia not be used by the Yadu dynasty. Does this mean that even Lord Krishna, the Lord of the whole creation and husband of the goddess of fortune, cannot use this royal paraphernalia? The dust of Krishna's lotus feet is worshipped by all the great demigods. The Ganges water inundates the whole world, and since it emanates from his lotus feet, its banks have turned into great places of pilgrimage. The principal deities of all planets engage in his service and consider themselves most fortunate to take the dust of the lotus feet of Krishna on their heads, on their helmets. Great demigods like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and even the goddess of fortune and I are simply plenary parts of his spiritual identity, and still you think he is not fit to use the royal insignia or even sit on the royal throne. Alas, how regrettable it is that these fools consider us, the members of the Yadu dynasty, to be like shoes and themselves like helmets. It is clear now that the leaders of the Kuru dynasty have become mad over their worldly possessions and opulence. Every statement they made was full of crazy proposals. I should immediately take them to task and bring them to their senses. If I do not take these steps against them, it will be improper on my part. Therefore, on this very day, I shall rid the whole world of any trace of the Kuru dynasty. I shall finish them off immediately. While talking like this, Lord Balaram seemed so furious that he looked as if he could burn the whole cosmic creation to ashes. He stood up steadily and, taking his plow in his hand, began striking the earth with it, separating the whole city of Hastinapur from the earth, and then he began to drag the city towards the flowing water of the river Ganges. This caused a great tremor throughout Hastinapur, as if there had been an earthquake, and it seemed that the whole city would be dismantled. When all the members of the Kuru dynasty saw that their city was about to fall into the water of the Ganges, and when they heard their citizens howling in great anxiety, they immediately came to their senses and understood what was happening. Thus, without waiting another second, they brought forward their daughter Lakshmana. They also brought Samba, who had forcibly tried to take her away, keeping him in the forefront with Lakshmana at his back. All the members of the Kuru dynasty appeared before Lord Balaram with folded hands, just to beg the pardon of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, using good sense, they said, "Oh Lord Balaram, reservoir of all pleasures, you are the maintainer and support of the entire cosmic situation. Unfortunately, we are all unaware of your inconceivable potencies. Dear Lord, please consider us most foolish. Our intelligence was bewildered and not in order. Therefore, we have come before you to beg your pardon. Please excuse us. You are the original creator, sustainer, and annihilator of the whole cosmic manifestation, and still your position is always transcendental. Oh, all-powerful Lord, great sages speak about you. You are the original puppeteer, and everything in the world is just like your toy. O unlimited one, you have a hold on everything, and like child's play, you hold all the planetary systems on your head. When the time for dissolution comes, you close up the whole cosmic manifestation within yourself. At that time, nothing remains but yourself lying in the causal ocean as Mahavishnu. Our dear Lord, you have appeared on this earth in your transcendental body just for the maintenance of the cosmic situation. You're above all anger, envy, and enmity. Whatever you do, even in the form of chastisement, is auspicious for the whole material existence. We offer our respectful obeisances unto you because you are the imperishable Supreme Personality of Godhead, the reservoir of all opulence and potencies. O Creator of innumerable universes, let us fall down and offer you our respectful obeisances again and again. We are now completely surrendered unto you. Please, therefore, be merciful upon us and give us your protection. When the prominent members of the Kuru dynasty, from grandfather Bhishma to Arjuna and Duryodhana, had offered their respectful prayers in that way, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Balaram, immediately became softened and assured them there was no cause for fear and they need not worry. For the most part, it was the practice of the Kshatriya kings to inaugurate some kind of fighting between the parties of the bride and bridegroom before the marriage. When Samba forcibly took away Lakshmana, the elder members of the Kuru dynasty were pleased to see that he was actually the suitable match for her. In order to see his personal strength, however, they fought with him, and without respect for the regulations of fighting, they all arrested him. When the Yadu dynasty decided to release Samba from the confinement of the Kurus, Lord Balaram came personally to settle the matter, and as a powerful Kshatriya, ordered them to free Samba immediately. The Kauravas were superficially insulted by this order, so they challenged Lord Balaram's power. They simply wanted to see him exhibit his inconceivable strength. Thus, with great pleasure, they handed over their daughter to Samba, and the whole matter was settled. Duryodhana, being affectionate toward his daughter Lakshman, had her married to Samba with great pomp. For a dowry, he first gave 1,200 elephants, each at least 60 years old. Then he gave 10,000 nice horses, 6,000 chariots, dazzling just like the sunshine, and 1,000 maidservants, decorated with golden ornaments. Lord Balaram, the most prominent member of the Yadu dynasty, acted as guardian of the bridegroom Samba, and very pleasingly accepted the dowry. Balaram was very satisfied after his great reception from the side of the Kurus, and accompanied by the newly married couple, he started toward the capital city of Dwarka. Lord Balaram triumphantly reached Dwarka, where he met with many citizens who were all his devotees and friends. When they all assembled, Lord Balaram narrated the whole story of the marriage, and they were astonished to hear how Balaram had made the city of Hastinapur tremble. It is confirmed by bkgoswami that in those days, the river flowing through the city of Hastinapur, present-day New Delhi, was known as the Ganges, although today it is called the Yamuna. From authorities like Bkgoswami, it is confirmed that the Ganges and Yamuna are the same river flowing in different courses. The part of the Ganges which flows through Hastinapur to the area of Vrindavan is called the Yamuna, because it is sanctified by the transcendental pastimes of Lord Krishna. The part of Hastinapur which slopes towards the Yamuna becomes inundated during the rainy season and reminds everyone of Lord Balaram's threatening to cast the city into the Ganges. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 68th chapter of Krishna, the marriage of Samba. So today we covered two chapters, 67 and 68. Okay, Samba. Okay, so now we will take questions. Perfect timing. So we're going to stop sharing, and then we're going to allow you to unmute yourselves. Okay, there's one question here by Ashwin. Uh, let me answer his question first before you ask questions. Are the demons that we see in the Christian book present in the spiritual world? No. But in the spiritual world, there's devotees who take the part, who play the part of demons, but they don't get killed. Krishna reforms them. It's like a pastime, like children sometimes playing the part of the king and the queen. So in the spiritual world, there's no demons. However, the devotees play that part, like in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, there's an elaborate description of how one devotee played the part of Rishtashura, the bull demon, and Krishna, instead of killing him, tamed him and gave him to Lord Shiva. So now we have a question from Madhava. You can unmute yourself. Oh, Madhava, your hand was up first. You can unmute yourself now and ask your question. No?
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Good to see you after long time, long time.
Are you in India now? Are you in India now, or?
No. I was supposed to go on November 14th, but a week before I got a message, a call from my brother, his daughter's getting married, so I postponed my travel because
When are you going?
I go in March, the mid-March, the 12th of March.
Good. So you're still here.
Yes, Maharaj, yeah.
That's very good. I'm happy to hear that.
Yes, thank you. So my question was, as we have learned that both Ganges and Jamuna, they originate from Himalaya. There's Gangotri, Jamunetri.
Yeah.
So how this river in Delhi, talking about the Ganges, and some description was that it is the same thing. So that I was a little bit confused.
Well, they actually flow together. There's some. I'd have to look at the map, but there's some way that they actually become connected. I mean, of course, in the Triveni, they actually all join.
Yeah.
Triveni is the Saraswati, Jamuna, and the Ganges. But there's, well, we can assume that even if it doesn't show on the map, and I can't find the map right now of the Jamuna River, but at least underground, there's some connection between the rivers.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
You know, at least underground. I mean, I was looking for a map of the Jamuna River. Jamuna River. Jamuna River. Here we go. Wow, it's very interesting. Yeah, there's actually all sorts of tributaries. Looking at this map. Hold on a second. Yeah, you got the Ganges. What? Whoops. Anyway, I had the map. Oh, here it is. The map of the Yamuna. It's a little bit too small to show all of you. But there's all sorts of tributaries that connect both of them. Even though there's the Yamunotri and the Gangotri, still they're actually connected even up in the Himalayas. That's really cool. That's really cool. Even though they join together, let me see if I can get a bigger picture of it. I'm trying to expand the picture. Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah, it's really interesting. I never looked at this before. Whoops. Oh, wait a second. Anyway, I wanted to show everybody. Oh, there we go. Let's see if anyway, it keeps disappearing. Oh, and now my computer's having a heart attack. Can you still hear me?
Yes, Maharaj.
Yes, Gurudev.
Yeah, my computer is like having a heart attack right now, so I can't even see. I'm trying to get back to the Zoom. Here we go. All right. Okay. Let's see if I can share the screen. I mean, sometimes the computer just like doesn't like everything I'm doing. Yeah, let's see if I can share that screen. Give me a second. Can everybody see it?
Yeah.
Yes, we can figure it out.
So here you see my mouse.
Yeah.
Here's the river Ganga, and here's the river Yamuna. And if you were to go up there, and I tried to do that before, but it was just like you could see they're actually connected up in the Himalayas.
Yeah.
That is Alaknanda, right? The Alaknanda is combined. Alaknanda and Bhagirathi.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can actually see they're connected, and also the. It's really interesting. You see all the rivers are connected, but you can't see the connection right now in this. I tried to page up here, but then if I try again, I'm afraid. Well, here we go.
Yeah.
See how they're very close together up there?
Yeah.
So in other words, they're connected somehow or other. You can't. There's Yamuna, and especially when they hit Allahabad, then it's obviously connected. It's interesting. Delhi, you got the river Jamuna is the primary river there,
Right.
not the. Anyway, so that's the map. Okay, let's stop sharing. Interesting
Krishna
question.
Gurudev, this is Rishikesh.
Yeah.
Just Gurudev, I just want to have a quick, it's not a question, but Chaitanya Vallabh Das from Vrindavan, I think he's seeking your blessing. It was his birthday yesterday. He's on the phone right now.
Who?
Chaitanya Vallabh Das?
Oh, Chaitanya Bala, my disciple there. Yeah.
Yeah. He's seeking your blessing, Gurudev.
Blessing. Yeah, we got blessings.
Hare Krishna Gurudev. Pranam Gurudev.
All right. Blessings on your birthday. How old are you?
No, 36 started Gurudev.
Okay. Anyway, my blessings. Okay, let's get back to questions. Who else has a question?
Gurudev, I was just surprised about this, Bhishma Dev and Drona, these gurus, they knew the position of Krishna and Balaram as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In spite of that, they spoke such a harsh word to Balaram. I mean, just surprising,
Well, that probably explains that as Kshatriyas, they actually wanted to stimulate this fight.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, Prabhupada actually explains that if you were listening to the recitation, that this is it's chivalry, it's part of their relationship.
Uh-huh.
They wanted to enjoy that. So sometimes, like when you're I don't know if you ever played cricket or something like that, you just call the opposing teams different names.
Uh-huh.
So that's like the chivalrous type of relationship that in competition, the Kshatriyas, that's their nature.
Uh-huh.
Actually, Maharaj, when you read about in the Kshatriya weddings, in Kshatriya's weddings, the bridegroom has to show that he can win over, he has to demonstrate his strength and power. That is a tradition in Kshatriya's marriage.
Yes, that's right.
Yes. So naturally they create, it is a kind of chivalry between two parties. They are opposing, but ultimately they for the show purpose. It's not real enemy type fight, but they're certainly, they want to see the challenge, and ultimately they accept the girl's side, accept the defeat and welcomes, and everything, the wedding starts. That's how it works.
Yeah, it's like the games that they play at the marriage.
Yes. Yes.
It's very good. Okay, so one other question we have here in the text window, the chat window. Uh, Vishaka Priya is disturbed about Lakshman being kidnapped when she was meant to choose her own husband. Does she end up satisfied with the partnership? Was she too prideful to choose Samba as a husband in the first place? Interesting question. She actually was very satisfied because he actually proved she wanted someone who could actually prove that he was the best fighter. So that was, she was playing hard to get. She wasn't sure that he was the best fighter, so she wanted someone who was the biggest hero, the best fighter, and she was very happy with the relationship. And had she actually said before that she didn't want him, they wouldn't have forced her. I mean, afterwards they wouldn't have forced her. But she went along with him. There's no description that she fought him off. That when he was trying to take her away, I mean, she went with him. She enjoyed the whole thing. I mean, the women enjoy it very much. Like when there's a fight for a woman's hand, it's something that's very romantic. Especially, there's some blood and the husband takes the blood of the enemy. I mean, I don't know if you would all like that. The husband takes the blood of the enemy and puts it on the wife's head, like the dot and the part of the hair. It's just like, wow, he loves me. He fought for me. I mean, this is Kshatriya. She was a Kshatriya too. So this is what they enjoyed. I mean, I can't relate to it because I'm not a Kshatriya and sannyasi anyway. But anyway, it's just, they enjoy it. They enjoy a good fight. The women, they love it. This is like the dream husband. So anyway, we have to end now. It is time. Thank you very much. All glories to His Divine Grace. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hold on. Computer is having a heart attack. See if I can end.